You've probably heard of the well-known scriptures like Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, and Ruth. But have you ever wondered about the lesser-known texts? Ever heard of Susanna, Bel and the Dragon, or the books of 1st and 2nd Esdras? These intriguing scriptures are part of the Ethiopian Bible, a text shrouded in mystery and often overlooked in mainstream Christianity. In today's video, we're diving into why the Ethiopian Bible, a treasure trove of ancient wisdom and spiritual insight, was banned. Welcome to Bible Stories, where we explore the fascinating world of biblical narratives, uncover hidden truths, and unravel mysteries that have captivated humanity for centuries. Have you ever thought about why the Ethiopian Bible, one of the oldest and most complete Christian texts, was forbidden? This ancient scripture comes from a land rich in history, culture, and spiritual significance. Ethiopia, one of the world's oldest civilizations, stands proudly as Africa's only unconquered nation, tracing its roots back to Ham, the son of Noah. But this story isn't just about Ethiopia's history. It's about the incredible biblical heritage this country holds. Before we get started, please support our channel by giving this video a thumbs up, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new updates. Ethiopia is home to some of the oldest biblical scrolls known to humanity, predating even the famous King James Version or any other translation you might think of. Unlike the 66 books found in the standard Christian Bible, the Ethiopian Bible contains 81 books, including scrolls from both the Old and New Testaments, as well as texts that were long hidden from the world. What's even more fascinating is that these scrolls existed in Ethiopia long before Christianity officially arrived in the 4th century. In other words, Christianity wasn't introduced to Ethiopia by outsiders. It was already a part of the culture by the 4th century. So how did Christianity take root in Ethiopia? The story goes that Ethiopia first embraced Judaism. The Bible mentions several instances where Ethiopians interacted with the Israelites. For example, Genesis 2:13 talks about the Gihon River in Ethiopia, one of the 4 rivers flowing out of the Garden of Eden. In Numbers 12:1, Moses' wife Zipporah is described as a Cushite woman, Cush being the ancient Hebrew name for the land south of Egypt, now known as Ethiopia. It's believed that Judaism made its way to Ethiopia when the Queen of Sheba returned from visiting King Solomon in Jerusalem around the 10th century BC. This event is recorded in the Bible, but what isn't often mentioned is that the Queen and Solomon had a son together. In 2012, genetic studies provided some evidence supporting the journey of Sheba and her son's birth. Legend has it that their son, Menelik, brought the Ark of the Covenant to Ethiopia, where it is said to be guarded to this day. This early exposure to Jewish teachings laid the foundation for Ethiopian spirituality, and when Christianity was introduced in the 4th century, it was readily embraced. Ethiopia was one of the first nations to adopt Christianity as a state religion, and this could be true because the Bible tells the story of the Ethiopian eunuch reading holy scrolls in his chariot when Apostle Philip met him. Philip converted him to Christianity, making this Ethiopian eunuch one of the earliest recorded converts, someone with significant influence in Ethiopian society. According to historian Ross of Constantine the Great, 2 Syrian brothers, Manas and Atticus, played crucial roles in bringing Christianity to Ethiopia. Some Ethiopian tribes have worshipped the Christian God for over 3,500 years, making the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, locally known as Tewahedo, the oldest organized Christian body in the world, not the Catholic Church, as many believe. Ethiopia also holds one of the earliest illustrated Christian books, the Ethiopian Bible, written in the ancient Ge'ez language. Yet the Ethiopian Bible is still largely unknown and not included in the canon of Holy Scriptures recognized by most Christian denominations. Many believers have never even heard of it, illustrating just how deeply this sacred text has been discredited and hidden from the world. This raises an important question. Why? To get to the bottom of it, let's dive into a bit of history. Before we jump in, don't forget to hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Now, let's travel back in time. The Bible we have today isn't exactly how it was in the past. In fact, there were numerous versions and interpretations of the Bible throughout history. Originally, the Bible was written in Hebrew and later translated into other languages. The first major translation into Latin was done by Saint Jerome around 400 AD, creating what's known as the Vulgate. This version included 27 books of the New Testament and 39 books of the Old Testament, and was referred to as the Hebrew Bible back then. In the first century, many books about Jesus' life and teachings were written, but not all were accurate. These works were somewhat like fan fiction. People were writing their own versions of Jesus' story. Without the internet to verify the facts, many of these false accounts spread quickly, leading to confusion and misinformation. This concerned early church leaders who convened at the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD and the First Council of Constantinople in 381 AD. They decided that only books written by Jesus' direct followers, or those who had witnessed his teachings and that aligned with the rest of the Bible, would be included in the New Testament. Fast forward to the 1600s, during King James III's reign. Even though the Vulgate had been around for 500 years, numerous Bible versions still existed, causing quite a bit of confusion. King James wanted a unified Bible that would address religious disputes and reinforce his authority. He appointed 47 scholars to review all existing translations, dividing them into 6 groups to work on different sections independently. Over 7 years, they meticulously followed guidelines to ensure accuracy and avoid bias. When their work was completed, the king and the priests were impressed by the consistency across the different groups and approved the final text, praising God for guiding their efforts. In 1611, the King James Bible was published, benefiting from printing advancements and becoming widely accessible. This edition, along with the earlier Vulgate translation, led to the exclusion of some books from the Bible most Christians use today. Meanwhile, the Ethiopian Bible retains these additional scriptures. So, why was the Ethiopian Bible left out? Primarily because it includes books known as pseudepigrapha, works falsely attributed to ancient figures or written with dubious intentions. These were deemed non-canonical by many Christian traditions because they were considered not divinely inspired. And that's the key reason behind the Ethiopian Bible's rejection. Now that we've explored the history, we can better understand the reasons for these decisions. The Ethiopian Bible is a treasure trove of ancient texts, many of which are not found in the more commonly known versions of the Bible. Among these extra books are intriguing titles like the Book of Tobit, the Book of Judith, and the books of 1st and 2nd Maccabees. It also includes the Wisdom of Solomon, which some believe was penned by Queen Sheba herself. Other fascinating additions are the Book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, the Book of Baruch, and the Letter of Jeremiah, along with unique versions of the Book of Esther, the Prayer of Azariah, and the Book of Susanna. Plus, it features the Book of Bel and the Dragon, and the books of 1st and 2nd Esdras. But that's not all. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church holds even more unique texts in its tradition. This includes the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, and various Enochian books, along with the Book of Adam and Eve. So why were these texts left out of other Bibles? It wasn't just about whether they were falsely attributed or not. Many of these writings are apocalyptic and filled with prophecies about future upheavals that could stir fear and anxiety. Back in the day, reading was a privileged activity, and rulers wanted to avoid spreading panic among their elite and the wider population. Hence, these texts were excluded to maintain peace and stability. Yet, it's a loss that many of these texts were removed. They offer insights that could still be valuable today. For instance, the Book of Enoch provides an early and detailed account of the fall of Satan and the Watchers, angels who descended to earth and caused chaos. This book was considered too controversial by early Christian leaders, which is why it didn't make it into most Christian Bibles. The Book of Enoch also foretells the coming of the Messiah and the end of the world, making it one of the most prophetic texts in the Ethiopian Canon. Moreover, texts like the Book of Jubilees and the Book of Adam and Eve add depth to the Genesis stories, offering mystical and spiritual interpretations of biblical events. These books provide a richer, more nuanced understanding of the patriarchs, sin, and redemption, perspectives that didn't align with the more literal approach preferred by early church leaders. The Ethiopian Bible, with its unique and diverse collection, represents a distinctive Christian tradition that has preserved many aspects of early thought and belief. The exclusion of these texts from the broader canon reflects the early church's effort to create a more standardized and universally accepted Bible. But does this mean the Ethiopian Bible is less valuable? Or could exploring these ancient texts offer us a deeper understanding of our faith and divine mysteries? Perhaps the true worth of the Ethiopian Bible lies in its ability to challenge us, encouraging a deeper reflection on our beliefs and uncovering hidden truths preserved by this ancient tradition. Ethiopia holds some of the oldest biblical scrolls, predating those in traditional Christian Bibles. When Rome dominated Christianity, they removed texts like the Book of Enoch to keep certain mysteries hidden. Fortunately, Ethiopia preserved these ancient scrolls, which contain 88 books compared to the 66 in the widely known King James Version. This video explores Ethiopia's rich Christian heritage, revealing its deep connections to well-known biblical stories. It highlights how efforts have been made to obscure this history, but thanks to the Ethiopians who preserved these ancient scrolls, we now have the opportunity to access and study them. This newfound knowledge helps us deepen our understanding of our faith